It's been a relatively calm year security-wise in the nation's capital, but that peace was disturbed a few days ago with a communal clash in Gwarimpa that cost the life of at least one person and injured several others. We bring you the details in our focus on the nation's capital. Our guest on the program used to be Commissioner of Police for the nation's capital, and he walks us through what could be done to ensure we don't have a repeat of the insecurity we faced in Abuja in the last few years. And yes, we have a weekly update on the major stories from the nation's capital. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I am Kayla Megwa. Let's begin with a rundown of the major stories from the nation's capital in our Abuja wrap.
The Nigerian military has recorded remarkable transformation in its operations, particularly in the areas of manpower and training. President Buhari made the remark during the official unveiling of the national and regimental colours of the new and operationalized units of the Nigerian Army in Abuja. The president, who doubled as a reviewing officer, further noted that the security situation in the country has recorded tremendous improvement compared to 2015. He urged Nigerians to continue to support the military for greater successes.
This administration has achieved remarkable transformation of the military in the areas of fighting power, training, operations, manpower, remunerations, and medical services.
President Muhammadu Buhari received in audience President-elect Bola Tinubu at the State House in Abuja. President Buhari and President-elect Tinubu prayed together at the presidential mosque, after which the president-elect departed without speaking to the media. Also, President Muhammadu Buhari received in audience Governor Yahaya Bello of Kogi State and the APC governorship candidate of the state, Mr. Usman Ododo, at the State House in Abuja. In a chat with the media after the meeting, the APC governorship candidate in Kogi State, Mr. Usman Ododo, stated that the president has conferred his blessings on him ahead of the November polls. He underscored a commitment to building on the unparalleled development strides of the Governor Bello administration, which were achieved through inclusive governance if elected in the forthcoming polls. African development should dominate the minds of all Africans, local or in diaspora. This is according to President Muhammadu Buhari, represented by the Minister of Transport, Muazu Sambo, at the second edition of the Global African Diaspora Symposium, which was held at the banquet hall of the State House in Abuja. Calls are being made for the symposium to be biennial, for African countries to adopt actionable diaspora strategies that will ensure the true potential of Africans in diaspora are harnessed for the good of the continent.
The diaspora have become a force to be reckoned with regards to sustainable development of their varied homelands by regional bodies and national governments through remittances, medical missions, FDI educational visits, tourism, investments and enterprises, etc.
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, has disclosed that procuring 40 buses toward the evacuation of Nigerians has cost the government $1.2 million. Speaking to the press after the Federal Executive Council meeting, Mr. Onyema stated that the government will evacuate citizens within days in spite of the 72-hour ceasefire agreement in Sudan, because it has concluded talks with the Sudanese government and they are on the same page. According to the ministry, no priority is accorded any diplomat, but will consider prioritizing women and children.
It'll take, maybe a couple of days to, evacuate everybody. 1.2 million is what we're being charged for the buses to the board. $1 million. Yeah, for the entire 40 huge transporter luxury buses made available to us to transport to the Egyptian border. Of course, because of the risks involved and so many other things, a lot of people are going to also take advantage. They're going to hike up the price.
The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, says the allegation of loss of over $2.4 billion from illegal sale of 40 million barrels of crude oil is baseless. He said that these when he appeared before the House ad hoc committee, which is investigating the matter. According to Mr. Malami, after investigating the allegation, it was observed that the origin of the crude allegedly lost in China was unknown. This was communicated to President Buhari.
The allegations relating to the 48 million barrels are baseless. The allegation is unfounded. It's lacking in merit, and indeed lacking in substance. It is, in its own right, the allegation devoid of any reasonable ground pointing to a material suspicion and cogent enough to invoke the constitutional oversight of the committee.
The Nigeria Governors Forum is planning to meet with President Buhari to urge him to present a new revenue sharing formula to the National Assembly before exiting office next month. The governors also plan to discuss the modalities for disbursing revenues generated from stamp, which they say are currently in vaults of the country's central bank. The chairman of the forum, Governor Aminu Tambuwal, disclosed this on the sideline of a valedictory meeting of the governors in Abuja.
We also discussed about the new revenue formula submitted to Mr. President by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, and the need for us to really approach Mr. President on the need for him to present the new draft formula to National Assembly before this administration winds up. And we also discussed about the issue of stamp duties that are being owed both the federal government and the states, that is, were housed in central bank, and we are working to make sure that that has been released for disbursements to both federal government and states.
The community of people living with disabilities is asking the President-elect, Senator Bola Tinubu, to appoint at least one person with disability into his cabinet after he sworn into office on May 29 this year. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, the founder of TAF Africa, Mr. Jake Epele, also appeals to state governors not to discriminate against people living with disabilities by appointing qualified individuals with disabilities in their cabinet. According to him, the outcome of the 2023 general elections has provided Nigeria another opportunity to deepen disability inclusion in governance, even though none of the members in the disability community who contested in the elections were voted into office.
I want to use this opportunity to call on the incoming government to ensure that at least one person with disability is appointed as the minister, a minister in the federal cabinet. And we want to also use this opportunity to call on governors to ensure the appointment of persons with disability as commissioners.
Welcome back. This week, we're looking at security in the nation's capital. And we tried to get details of what happened at the 3rd Avenue axis of Gwarimpa. We also looked back at the recent security challenges faced by residents in the nation's capital and what can be done to make sure that Abuja and its vital infrastructure remains safe. Residents of Gwarimpa in the Federal Capital Territory say they're living in fear and are appealing to the federal government to intervene in the security crisis in the area. They told Channels Television that a misunderstanding between two locals during the weekend caused a riotous situation that has threatened the security situation in the area. On Saturday, April the 22nd, 2023, the usually boisterous 3rd Avenue in the Gwarimpa estate is deserted after a disagreement between two residents here caused a breakdown of law and order over the weekend, forcing the residents into hiding. Closed businesses, tires burnt on the road, destroyed properties. These are all evidence of what may have transpired before the security operatives arrived to quell the situation. Amateur videos obtained show some of the weapons brandished by some perpetrators. The security operatives move around in a bid to find those locals behind the chaos.
And of course, the barrister.
However, an eyewitness gives an account of what caused the chaos.
It actually started on the night of Saturday, around 9 p.m., when the story we had was that what regarded was that a Gwari young man was passing, making calls, and those guys selling drugs on the street were like asking him, why are you making call and why are you looking at us? And the guy was like, and what's all that? And they attacked him. So the guy had to run inside and beckon to his brothers, and they came out, and that was what regarded the crisis. So between the Gwari indigents and the Hausa peddlers. About 10 o'clock in the morning that the members of the Nigerian army had to come with about 3 or 4, 5 trucks. Now that was when the mobile police joined them, and they were shooting sporadically on the air and shooting on the ground to scare people, and the police were throwing canisters and all of that. And eventually I heard that some people were sustained gun injury, especially there was a particular guy that I saw that his leg was ripped off.
Some residents appeal to the federal government to do more to restore peace in the area, as they say they now live in fear of the unknown.
Calling on government to intervene, because this night we don't know how people are going to sleep successfully, because we hear from a very reliable source that they are planning to come this night. And that's what my friend is just telling me, how people who live here are going to sleep with their eyes closed. So we are all just walking about in fear. We need government's attention, really. In this, if they can even station the military, because it's like the police are not taking action.
Following the incident, the acting commissioner of police for the FCT, DCP Ahmed Musa, met with traditional rulers of both the Hausa and Gbagi communities in Gwarimpa at his office in the command headquarters to broker peace between both groups, deliberate on possible collaborations necessary to keep the youth in check, and oust troublesome elements in the communities. A statement from the FCT Police Command Public Relations Officer Josephine Ade states, the fracas between the two groups, which caused the grievous wounding of 2 youth who were conveyed to the hospital, where one was eventually declared dead after attempts to attend to his wound failed, led to the arrest of 1 suspect who's currently assisting the police in their investigation to ascertain the immediate and remote causes of the affray. The acting commissioner of police in charge of the FCT has charged the traditional rulers to consistently encourage the youth to imbibe peace and pursue grievances through the legally approved channels rather than taking laws into their hands. Meanwhile, the police has intensified surveillance patrols in the area for monitoring the situation to ensure it does not further escalate, end quote. 1 person dead thanks to violence and insecurity. This is despite attempts at ensuring sanity in the nation's capital by the Federal Capital Territory Development Authority. A total ban on commercial motorcycles in the city centre, followed by the crushing of motorcycles owned by offenders. Demolitions of shanties all over the FCT, especially those known to harbour all kinds of criminal elements. Between 2019 and 2022, there have been series of robbery attacks in several parts of the nation's capital, such as this one at the Kubwa 2 Extension Estate. Communal clashes like this one in Abu, kidnappings in places like Keti Village and the University of Abuja staff quarters in Giri Village in Gwagwalada Area Council, and an overall sense of insecurity across the nation's capital reduced the faith residents have in security forces, even though this is the seat of power. 2023 has been relatively calm in terms of violence in the nation's capital, to the relief of residents who have had to navigate a turbulent few years. This communal clash in Gwarimpa is doused for the meantime, and security agencies are on full alert to ensure residents feel safer. To break down what needs to be done to keep Abuja safe, we had a sit down with the former Commissioner of Police for the nation's capital, Mr. Wilson Inalegu. And frankly, it's a lot of work. But if you're the man on the job, you better do it well, according to him. The responsibility for the lives of many is enormous, and we navigate these parameters on this interview. We also talked about demolitions, bike bans, regular patrols, and community engagement. Mr. Wilson Inalegu, welcome to Dateline Abuja.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure for me to be at the studio.
It's always very interesting whenever we have a security problem. It warms me in many ways to find someone who used to be Commissioner of Police for the FCT.
Yeah, that's true.
I remember when you were Commissioner of Police in this place, and you know, the memories of those periods. And those were actually tougher times than we're in right now, and you were able to navigate us through all of that. I want to talk. Let's start off by talking about this incident that happened in Gwarimpa. There's so many variations as to what happened. I heard there was something about drugs, something about indigenes and Fulanis in the area. Well, from the research I know that you've done on this particular matter, what would you say was the cause of this particular impasse in Gwarimpa?
Yeah, first of all, there was a problem between tricycle operators, otherwise called Keke Napep riders, and indigenous people, the Baggies, living in that area. And at the house of a councillor, who happens to be Baggy, I believe, was attacked by people believed to be under influence of drugs, which they use. And I think they were traced to these tricycle operators. So someone said, you can't do our people like this and all that.
The councillor is an FCT indigent.
Yeah, FCT indigent. And when that started, what happened? It became one tribe,
against
the indigenous
the
tribe, and against another.
But what was the root cause? Something must have necessitated that attack.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I think it was like a criminal attack, just like you have houses being burgled. I think that was what happened. You know.
Or someone took advantage of a situation to carry out a criminal act.
No. I think the criminal act preceded the riot, the violence that broke out. This is perhaps happening a respectable member of that community, being a councillor, and who went to attack his house, maybe to steal something, and the Baggies now felt, you've come to attack our leader. And we know you are the tricycle operators. You guys deal on cannabis, on Indian hemp and the rest of them. And apparently, this must have been going on.
Because it couldn't have just been a one-off situation. No. This had to be something that had roots maybe years ago.
Yeah, you see, that is why.
So there's a thriving cannabis market there?
It is possible because in those days, at Area 1, near the old secretariat, there used to be a place called Monkey
Village.
Monkey Village. And just behind there was a large area where cannabis used to be sold. I recall we were raiding the place, timing again and again and again.
I'm sad to report to you that it's always been raided. It was just demolished. The Monkey Village was demolished 3 weeks ago. Again. They keep bringing up structures and demolishing.
When we go there, we will recover bags of cannabis. And a lot arrest, prosecute, and all of them. But, you know, when you raid those places, you are going to maintain presence for a while. But if you maintain this presence, and that is why the law enforcement agencies, the NPF, cannot do it alone.
What can be done? I know that the police, the Commissioner of Police or the acting commissioner of police, because we have a new commissioner of police right now for the FCT, but the acting commissioner got the leaders of the communities, decided to come up with an amicable solution to the problem. What is the long-term solution to a place that is known to be a place where you can buy cannabis?
First of all, nature abhors vacuum. That is one. But the other thing is, when you have situations such as the one that happened, they are going to happen all the time. But effective community engagement, and having effective community engagement, we have mentioned one of the ingredients, that of listening, that of collaboration.
Something that takes a lot of time to actually work, to get citizens to be on your side. And that actually brings me to my next question. The turnover of police commissioners in the FCT. Since January, I've counted 3. Since January, and we're just in April. So how are you going to be able to consistently come up with plans that will be, effective in fighting crime and criminality if we have a turnover that is based on promotions or whatever, and then it just keeps going over and over again, and we don't have someone who can stand on a policy and sustainably see it to the end? What are your thoughts on this?
Talking about the turnover of police commissioners, well, there is a need for consistency in the deployment, in this tour of duty of commissioners of police. But it becomes a challenge if an officer gets promoted. For example, you are a commissioner of police and you are promoted to AIG. Certainly, your rank is above that position. But we expect that a commissioner of police should have a policing plan. And if you are able to develop a policing plan and make it as part of your handover, first of all, the short term, the mid-term, and the long term. You could do it for 2-3 years. I say, look, what are my policing priorities? Like we've just had the election. So if I am coming as a commissioner of police, I've got to study your handover note very well.
For someone who's coming in as commissioner of police for the FCT in the time that we're in, we're about to hand over to a new government. We're trying to see how we can, calm nerves of everyone and see how, we can move on as a country. What should be topmost on this new commissioner of police? What should be topmost on his mind as he's coming in?
Yeah.
For however long he may be here.
The commissioner of police must understand that we are the post-election phase. And because we are the post-election phase, there are a lot of litigations. Some of the tribunals are relocating. I read today where the one in Ebonyi, they are relocating. Therefore, we are going to expect some activities. And so he should have this quick intervention squad. That means if you have public order issue, you should be able to deploy the quick intervention. It is unless it overpowers them, the military should not be the first line of defense in that instance. He should take the issues of petty crimes at the pedestrian bridges, enforcement of the Okada issue, working collaboratively with the FCD authorities. Again, more importantly, active community engagement, having a listening ear, collaborating with sister agencies, not seeking vainglory for the command, but seeing it as our achievement.
Right. Well, that's why we do have to wrap it up today on the program. But I want to thank you so much, Mr. Wilson Nalibu, for being with us on Dateline Abuja, and good luck with all the things you have ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure for me. Thanks for having me again.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Security in Abuja is a very serious issue, and the FCT administration is doing what it can to prevent these security issues from happening in the first place. One of these methods is the confiscation and crushing of motorcycles operating in areas they're not supposed to, demolishing shanties, especially those known to harbor criminal elements. Are these reasonable preventive measures? Do they cause more harm than good? Some people believe it puts the divide between the people and government and makes people feel alienated, destroying any sense of belonging necessary to ensure citizen engagement in community development. While this dynamic is navigated by those concerned, please keep yourself safe. If you live in a neighborhood where crime is rife, speak up. Find out the contact details for the divisional police officer in the area command where you reside and keep it on your phone. Please stay safe, verify information before spreading it, and remain calm. That's Dateline Abuja this week. Please let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now on your screen. Thank you so much for watching. I am Kayla Magwa. See you next time.